Welcome back to the Kosi Arsenal channel. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. Arsenal have a big decision this summer when it comes to Leandro Trossard and Thomas Partey. Our new sporting director, Andrea Barta, begins this week. And although he has many opportunities to impress the fans, including signing a number 9, could be Isak or Lautaro Martinez, he could also go out there and sign a winger or an attacking midfielder. As part of his job, he's got a very big decision. Does he continue with Thomas Partey and renew his contract, which ends in the summer, or does he actually let him go? And what about Leandro Trossard? He's got 1 year left on his deal, and Arsenal have not been negotiating with the Belgian to extend his deal. So do we keep Trossard or do we actually sell him? Amongst a couple of people saying Trossard is getting older and this is the time to cash in and make some money. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Let me know in the comment box below, what would you do with Thomas Partey? What should we do? A couple of Arsenal fans think that the Partey is indispensable and you can't let him go, but it's not true. As Arsenal look to sign Zubimendi and possibly bring in the likes of Hugo Larsson, is this the time to let Thomas Partey leave Arsenal for once and for all? And what would you do with the contract situation with Leandro Trossard? Do you sell him this summer with 1 year left on his deal, or do you actually extend it and keep him at the club? He's been a very good fringe player in terms of coming off the bench and having a lot of impact, scoring goals and creating chances. I think he's a very good player to have around the squad, especially with his experience. And he's getting older, so he wouldn't ask for a lot of game time. But I want your thoughts and opinions in the comment box below. Now, a week ago, it was confirmed by Sammy Makbo, who has been working with the Daily Mail, now moving to the BBC, that Arsenal are not really looking to sign Thomas Partey on a new deal. They don't want to extend his deal, and they're looking at other alternatives like Joshua Kimmich, who is now going to stay at Bayern, Hugo Larsson at Eintracht Frankfurt, but most importantly, Arsenal have laid the groundwork for a new defensive midfielder, and that is Zubimendi, and we feel the deal will get done. Andrea Barta coming in means that Arsenal can actually get the deal done faster and quicker as compared to us working with Jason Ato, who is a bit of inexperienced and young as a sporting director. So if Zubimendi is coming in and Hugo Larsson is one of the players that we really like, as reported by Sky Sports Germany, does that mean that Thomas Partey's fate at Arsenal is sealed? If I am the new sporting director, Barta, there are so many questions around Thomas Partey. Partey was one of the first signings that was made by Arsenal under Mikel Arteta and Edu. They brought him in order to rebuild Arsenal. And I would say he's actually done his job to the maximum. He's one of the players that have actually seen Arsenal rise from the scraps that we were to one of the giant teams, one of the most drilled teams in England, if not in Europe. But is this time over at Arsenal, or is this a massive mistake that Arsenal are about to make? First and foremost, I would say keep Partey at all costs. I'm one of those Arsenal fans that celebrated, danced alongside with AFTV when Partey signed for Arsenal. I still remember it was on deadline day and we thought the deal had refused until the Cronkies gave us 45 million to trigger the release clause. It was a very interesting day, and until now I still remember the scenes. It's very close to Mesut Ozil signing for Arsenal, just that Thomas Partey is more recent. And Partey has not been a disappointment. When we think about players that have come in at Arsenal at 45 plus million, I think Partey has done his job, and he continues to do so, with him having a very good season this campaign. I would say he's one of our most consistent midfielders, if not the most. I mean, the likes of Declan Rice have had a very bad spell. The likes of Odegaard are struggling for form right now. And the likes of Mikel Merino are not even near the standards that Thomas Partey has shown at Arsenal this season. So I think Partey is still an important part of the squad. But why would we keep Partey? And why should Andrea Barta really keep Thomas Partey? The first thing I would say is simple. You're losing to Gino. You don't want to lose Partey as well. Now, although Gino is a very different profile and a very different player from Partey, there are a few things they actually share. Number one is experience, and number two is the winning mentality and pedigree. And I really like players that can add such a thing to Arsenal. Over the years, Arsenal have been criticized for one thing. We can't win, we are bottlers, and we don't have the winning mentality. And over the last 5 years, under Mikel Arteta, that mentality has been reinforced rather than being challenged. Last season, Arsenal were about 2 points away from winning the title, but still Manchester City's winning mentality or monster mentality beat us to the title. And the season before that, it was the same story. If you look at the last 5 years, Arsenal have not really competed well in any of the knockout competitions, not the Champions League, not the FA Cup, and not the Carabao Cup, except for this year where we played in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. And that tells you that Arsenal need something that young players don't have, and something that just pure quality and talent doesn't come with. That is the experience, the winning mentality, and the pedigree. Now, of course, there is that saying that goes, the older broom knows how it's done better, and it will sweep all the corners better than the newer ones. And I think with Thomas Partey, that is particularly true. When I look at Arsenal this season, especially in midfield, Partey, Odegaard, and Rice has been the predominant three and the go-to, I would say, formation and selection. And last season we said Arsenal would be cooking if Rice ever played with Odegaard alongside Thomas Partey. This season, they play together a lot of the minutes, and I don't think we've been cooking as much as we would have wanted or we had hoped last season. And that really points to the lack of course, of options, but also the manager lacking experience. But there's one player in that midfield that has given us real quality. That has been Thomas Partey. Somehow, he has evaded his injury problems from the last 2 previous campaigns that so many Arsenal fans turn away from him, including myself, and saying, we've got to sell him. He's very injury prone. My problem with Partey has been the injuries. Apart from that, although people have seen him play at right back and cast him, I don't think he's a bad player in any way, shape or form. And I think if you keep him, you're keeping gold. So with Jorginho leaving the club this summer and is leaving on a free, I think Arsenal need to have one of the senior defensive midfielders stay as you bring in Martin Zubimendi or Hugo Larsson. And I don't think Zubimendi is bad, and I don't want to say that he won't do the job. I mean, a few people are out there saying he can't replace Partey because he ain't Partey. But I think Arteta has a very different direction he wants to take Arsenal into tactically. And that's where we're seeing the likes of Merino, the likes of Zubimendi, and I think we've got to cope with that. But with Thomas Partey, you have a guaranteed quality player. Even if Zubimendi struggles, even if Zubimendi doesn't catch up quickly, like Calvin Phillips didn't at Manchester City at all, or, the way Nico Gonzalez hasn't impressed yet at Manchester City. They're all good players. At times, they take some time to impress. What if Zubimendi suffers that ACL injury that we saw Julian Timber suffer at the beginning of last campaign? I mean, I don't want it to happen, but this is football, and injuries are really something true. So I would say keep Partey of the experience, keep Partey because he knows the game, and the real reason, when he plays and he is on his best day, Thomas Partey is second to none in that DM role. Now, I am a big fan of Rodri, of course, him being Spanish and me being a very big Spanish fan. It explains why I'm a big fan. And I would really say, Rodri is such a phenomenal midfielder, especially at DM. But I have seen Partey at his best, and you like it when you see him. He's such a driving machine. He's such a crazy player when he's in his drive. And as an Arsenal fan, I am owed to support the fact that Partey is the best DM in the world. And I still believe this is not out of pure delusion and pure football tribalism. Partey is such a very good defensive midfielder. So for me, at 30, we've seen players like Busquets, players like Rodri, they are still going. I don't think Partey is done. I think he's still got the athleticism. I think he's got the concentration. And I just don't see a reason why Arsenal would throw him away if his injuries have actually healed. So that is my case for keeping Thomas Partey. But if Arsenal decided otherwise, if we decided to sell, still, I'm going to disappoint you, but I would understand why. This is the reason. Keeping Thomas Partey is one of the best decisions that could happen, but selling him or letting him go on a free in the summer will not be one of the worst decisions or the worst decision ever done by an Arsenal, football club. That would be selling Robin van Persie to our rivals Manchester United and then helping them win the Premier League. That is one of the worst decisions we've ever made. It showed that we are not competitors to Manchester United. We are just jokers and mediocres. That is the sign it showed. But when it comes to Partey, there are 2-3 reasons why you would understand Arsenal letting him go. One, Arsenal really want to freshen up that midfield with the likes of, Zubimendi maybe coming in and Hugo Larsson. And Partey on huge wages, you don't want to pile on other players that are going to be earning a lot of money as well. You want to clear the wage bill and then create space. So Zubimendi coming in and Hugo Larsson would need a substantial reduction in wages and how much we're spending on wages, which actually is high. Our wage bill increased by 40% last summer. It looks like you might have to let go of some of the most important players that are earning big money. And that's where Thomas Partey's departure might actually come in. But also secondly, I think Arsenal know that Thomas Partey's injuries this season have been a bit of luck and they might actually return. And that's why we went in January before anyone would go to sign Martin Zubimendi. So it's a very, very difficult situation. And Andrea Barta has one difficult decision to make. Do you keep Partey? Do you actually sell him? Or do you actually let him go? Now, I think this really depends on Mikel as well. If the manager really still wants Partey, then we might see a 1-year deal extended or 2 years. But if the manager says that Partey has got to go, then I'm sorry, we might not see Partey as an Arsenal player next campaign. But when it comes to Leandro Trossard, it's a little bit different. Trossard is really performing at a high level, and he's also one of the players that are really, really fit. He doesn't pick up as many injuries for a player of his age. That is really impressive. And he's playing a lot of football for Arsenal and also for Belgium. I would say he's one of those forward players that are aging like fine wine. We are talking Benzema, Lewandowski, Ronaldo, Messi, Ken, and the others. As they get older, they become fit and they play their best football. Case in point, Mohamed Salah. But what I want to say about Leandro Trossard is there's so many people out there that feel Leandro Trossard needs to go as Arsenal need around 2-3 attacking options in the summer. And I think they have a point, but I think they're also wrong. I think Arsenal going out there and signing attacking talent will cost us one of our beloved players. That could be Martinelli, that could be Odegaard or Saka, or that could be Leandro Trossard. But I don't think it's easy as we sign a new player or we sign Nico Williams, enter and exit for Trossard. I don't think it should be as easy as that for these reasons. Trossard, like Jorginho and Partey, provide Arsenal with something that is rare at the club and is highly, highly valuable: experience. When I think about the signing of Merino and think about the signing of Kimmich that we were pursuing, it shows that Arsenal recognize the advantages of having a player that is really experienced as part of the squad. And Leandro Trossard has not been anything less than testament to that. When you have the likes of Leandro Trossard, they withstand pressure. They've been in these moments and they can do different things and difficult things in difficult games, big games, and crucial games. Take, for example, the game that we played at the Emirates Stadium against Bayern last season that ended 2-2. Arsenal were really good on the evening, but Bayern used their experience in players like Kimmich, Goretzka, and Sané to rip us apart. And it was Leandro Trossard with Gabriel Jesus, who are already experienced players when it comes to playing a little football, but Gabriel Jesus also in the Champions League, that combined to give Arsenal an equalizer. And when I think about Saka's dive in that game, I'm like, if that is Leandro Trossard, maybe we bury that chance and maybe we go through. So I wouldn't really even think about letting Leandro Trossard go. But this is the worry. Arsenal usually talk to a player 1 year or 2 years before his contract expires if they want to keep him. Leandro Trossard is entering his last year at Arsenal, and we have not heard of any discussions. So is it going to be like Thomas Partey situation, where Leandro Trossard is allowed to finish his contract and then Arsenal reconsider giving him a new deal? Or are they thinking this is the summer where we sell? Now, I want to say that I'm not standing in the middle here. I'm clearly on the side, keep Leandro Trossard. And these are my reasons. If you sell Trossard, I think it really, sends the wrong message to the fans and the squad and the players. He's one of our best players. Why would you want to get rid of him? He's not one of the highly competed for players around Europe. He's yours to keep. So keep him. So in my opinion, whatever happens, please keep Leandro Trossard. For the people that want to sell him, I would understand. He's getting older and Arsenal have not had a very good selling policy. Basically, we always lose our players on a free rather than keep them. But when it comes to Leandro Trossard, I would rather keep rather than sell. But Andrea Barta has got a decision to make. And I would really, really love to get your thoughts in the comment box below. If you're Andrea Barta, what would you do? And come this summer, I want to see what Andrea Barta does. After all, if you have that experience, these are the kind of tasks and decisions you're signed for as a sporting director for a top club like Arsenal. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and definitely turn on notifications. I'll see you soon.